In the name of Allah, Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In the previous lecture, we learned that relative clause or adjective clause is that part of a sentence which describes, defines, and identifies a person, a place, or a thing. Now, in this class, we shall talk about types of relative clause or adjective clause. So let's begin. Dear students, you know, a relative clause has two types. The first type is known as defining. It's known as defining relative clause or identifying relative clause. And thirdly, it's also known as restrictive relative clause. And the second type is known as non-defining. It's known as non-defining relative clause or non-identifying relative clause or non-restrictive relative clause. So let's first define the defined relative clause. Dear students, defining relative clause is that part of a sentence. It's that clause which gives us necessary information, the essential information. तो ये एक ऐसा क्लॉज है जिसमें हमें necessary और essential ज़रूरी information मिलती है. Secondly, it defines, identifies, and restricts a noun or pronoun. डिफाइनिंग रिलेटिव क्लॉज एक नाउन या प्रोनाउन को डिफाइन करती है, डिस्क्राइब करती है, उसको आइडेंटिफाई करती है. restrict, it tells us what kind of person, place or thing we are talking about. हम किस चीज़ के, किस जगह से, किस किस्म के जगह के बारे में बात करते हैं, इसको डिफाइन करती है, आइडेंटिफाई करती है. Thirdly, commas are not used in this relative clause. इसमें हम कॉमास का इस्तेमाल नहीं करते हैं, but we use the relative pronoun that in place of which or who. यहाँ पे हम who का that का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, who और which के बदले हम इसका इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. We can also use who or which, but हम that का इस्तेमाल भी कर सकते हैं defining relative clause में. Thirdly, the sentence has different meaning without the relative clause. If we remove the relative clause from the main sentence, अगर हम इसको sentence से remove करें तो what will happen? It will have different meaning without it. इसकी meaning बदल जाएगी उस sentence की. Let's take some examples here. Dear students, see, the first example is the book that or which I like the most. यहाँ पे आप नोट कीजिए, यहाँ पे जो clause है that or which I like the most, it is the defining relative clause. यहाँ पे हमने that का इस्तेमाल किया और you can also use which. तो which के बदले हम that का इस्तेमाल भी कर सकते हैं. तो so that or which I like the most, ये defining relative clause है. ये इस book को, इस noun को क्या करती है? Define करती है, identify करती है. So it tells us which kind of book or which book we mean. हम किस किताब के बारे में बात करते हैं. तो किस किताब? Which book? It's the book which I like the most, जो मुझसे सबसे पसंदीदा है. So this is defining relative clause, or you can say non-defining relative clause, or or it is defining relative clause, or it is identifying relative clause, or restrictive relative clause. The second example, my cousin who is from Sopur. Again यहाँ पे जो who है, instead of who you can also use that, क्योंकि ये defining relative clause है. तो who is from Sopur, it is the defining relative clause. It tells us which cousin. So it defines or it identifies इस noun को, यानी कि cousin को ये restrict करती है. It tells us which cousin we are talking about. What we mean here, हम किसके बारे में, हम we are talking about that cousin, उस cousin के बारे में who is from, जो सोपुर से है. तो again, तो my cousin who is from Sopur visited us yesterday. तो यहाँ पे who is from Sopur, it is defining relative clause. Now let's move to the second type of relative clause, that is called non-defining relative clause or non-restrictive or non-identifying relative clause. Dear friends, this type of clause is that clause which provides extra information which is not necessary. तो non-defining related clause gives us extra और additional information हमें देता है जो necessary और essential ज़रूरी नहीं होती है. Secondly, the sentence means the same without the relative clause. अगर इस सेंटेंस को आप, इस relative clause को आप रिमूव करोगे तो sentence it won't affect the meaning of the sentence. इस पे कोई असर नहीं पड़ेगा. Sentence will just mean the same. Thirdly, that can't be used instead of who or which. हम यहाँ पे नॉन डिफाइनिंग रिलेटिव क्लॉज में that का इस्तेमाल नहीं कर सकते हैं एज ए रिलेटिव प्रोनाउन. रादर वी यूज who और which in subject position. that का इस्तेमाल नहीं यहाँ पे होता है. Fourthly, commas are used to separate additional information. If not applied, can change the meanings. सो डिफाइंड रिलेटेड क्लास में हम कॉमास का इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो सेपरेट एडिशनल इंफॉर्मेशन, जो एडिशनल जो एक्स्ट्रा इंफॉर्मेशन है जो रिलेटिव क्लास, उसको सेपरेट करने के लिए. इफ़ वी डोंट यूज अप्लाई कॉमास हेयर तो मीनिंग्स कैन चेंज. तो कभी कभी मीनिंग बदल सकती है सेंटेंस की. लेट्स टेक सम एग्जांपल्स. सी द एग्जांपल्स हेयर. The first example is, my cousin who is from Sopo visited us yesterday. So who is from Sopo, ये relative clause है, ये non-defining relative clause है, but it is extra information, ये additional information है जो necessary essential ज़रूरी नहीं है इस sentence के लिए. So my cousin, इसको हमने जो who is from Sopo, ये जो extra information है इसको हमने separate किया with commas noted here. So we have used two commas here. Who is from Sopo ये additional information है, ये relative clause इसको हमने separate किया है, अलग किया है. जो main part of sentence है my cousin visited us yesterday, इससे अलग किया है. So if we remove it, it doesn't affect the meaning. My cousin visited us yesterday. Okay, so you can't use here. See, we have used the relative pronoun who here. हम यहाँ पे that का इस्तेमाल नहीं कर सकते हैं. Okay. Okay, second example. Children who learn quickly should be sent to school early. देखिए अब who learn quickly, children who learn quickly should be sent to school. So again हमने यहाँ पे इस extra information को remove किया है by commas. देखिए आप commas हमने यूज़ किया है. who learn quickly, इसको हमने separate किया है from the essential information. ये extra information है. ठीक है. तो who learn quickly ये non-defining relative clause है. It's not necessary for the sentence. Sentence will mean the same thing if we remove it. Okay. You can't use that here. So children who learn quickly, it means all the children. It means all the children. It doesn't identify, it doesn't define, it doesn't describe हम किन बच्चों के बारे में. We are talking about all the children. So it means all the children. तो ये extra information है, ये additional information है. But if we remove the commas here, आप note कीजिए यहाँ पे, if we remove the commas here, so it will become A defining related clause, आप नोट कीजिए. Note it here. Children who learn quickly should be sent to school early. So children who learn quickly, यहाँ पे हमने relative pronoun who का इस्तेमाल किया, हमने यहाँ पे commas का इस्तेमाल, so it became, what did it become? It became a defining relative clause. It tells us, so who learn quickly, it is a relative clause, but it's a defining relative clause. It tells us which children. So which children are we talking? हम किन बच्चों के बारे में? So it describes the children who learn quickly, जो जल्दी सीखते हैं. So it means here the particular children जो जल्दी सीख जाते हैं. So sentence changed by removing the commas. So these were the two types of relative clause. So friends, let's revise briefly that we have two types of relative clauses. The first type is called defining relative clause or identifying relative clause or restrictive relative clause. Okay, and the second type is known as defining or non-defining or non-restrictive relative clause. Friends, see you with the next class with the relative pronouns which are used in defining or non-defining relative clause. Till then, goodbye.